Well, Ubisoft's in big trouble. Pixar has been messing with a beloved franchise, and humanity has landed a robot on a comet. It's just that kind of week. Welcome to the Know-It-All for November 14th. I'm Ashley Jenkins.
And I'm Meg Tarney. We're going to take you through all the week's top headlines. If you want any more details, just click the annotation in the video or link in the description, and we'll whisk you away to the full update.
But before we get started on all that entertainment, we have some big Rooster Teeth news. This week, we announced that Rooster Teeth is being acquired by Fullscreen. Operationally, nothing's going to change. Matt's staying on as CEO, and Bernie will remain as creative director. What this does mean for us is we're getting a lot more support for more productions, and maybe if we get really lucky, we'll be able to afford proper soundproofing for Achievement Hunter, so we don't hear the shouting all day, every day in all our broadcasts. We've got more details and messages from Matt and Bernie on the Rooster Teeth site, but I think Meg has something special.
Oh yeah, more poppers! Ah, yay!
I did it the right way this time. We're doing well.
I'm gonna work them into everything. Let's do more news.
Telltale has shared a bunch of new details for their upcoming Game of Thrones episodic series, which they insist will be out before the end of the year. TikTok, guys, we're waiting. The game will be based on the show and not George R.R. Martin's books, which may or may not be a huge deal depending on how you feel about the show's departure from the source material, and it'll pick up around the end of Season 3. The episodes will then run through the timeline of Season 4, ending just before Season 5, which is set to start airing in the spring. The game will follow House Forrester, which does appear in the books but hasn't appeared in the show yet, and you'll be able to play as 5 different members and servants of that house spread across Westeros. So you'll spend time in King's Landing and the Wall, as well as new locations like the seat of House Forrester, Ironrath, in the north.
Bungie gave us the gift of warm fuzzies this week when it was revealed that they sent a sick Destiny fan a special scout rifle not seen anywhere else in the game. The fan's wife shared his story on Reddit, posting that her husband had been through 7 brain surgeries in the last year, but was still really excited to play the game during recovery. The couple was thrilled to find out from his doctor that playing Destiny was actually a form of physical therapy for his brain, and saw vast improvement in his mood after he began playing. Bungie's community manager saw the woman's initial post and boom! Warm fuzzies. Popper warm fuzzies.
That's where all our budget went. Ahead of next week's Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire release, the Pokemon Company has released a ton of new details about the game, like the players can expect to encounter an additional story, which explores thousands of years of history and explains the mystery behind Mega Evolutions, with plenty of guest appearances from characters like Gym Leader Wallace and Steven, and, of course, those dicks at Team Aqua and Team Magma. They've also outlined 14 additional legendary Pokemon, not necessarily new, but additional, who can be caught at Mirage locations throughout the game, plus the Reggie trio you can capture to awaken Regigigas.
No good deed goes unpunished, and right off getting a sick fan a sweet rifle, one of Bungie's top developers was swatted last week. An anonymous caller rang police saying he had the developer and his family as hostages and had planted explosives in the front yard. It took sheriffs 45 minutes to figure out that the call was fake, and they are currently looking for any information for the person responsible. Just as a reminder, guys, swatting carries with it fines and jail time, so don't do it.
Also, just basically a dick move, guys. Ubisoft is in hot water for Assassin's Creed Unity once again. This time, instead of something they said, it's something they hid. Specifically, microtransactions, and kind of a broken game, but we'll get to that. Reviewers provided with early copies of the game were signed into a bullshit embargo that meant the game went on sale in some areas up to 12 hours before the reviews could be published, and then it turns out that the servers hosting some of the game's features, like microtransactions, were also down during the review period, essentially hiding them. Reviewers couldn't even see the cost, and it turns out those microtransactions can cost up to $100. Purely optional? Yes. Still kind of shady? Also yes. Other content, specifically treasure chests, is locked behind other walls that require you to download and use the companion app or sign up for the Initiate's ARG through Uplay. Oh, and did I mention the technical problems, like players falling through the world, terrifying render glitches that leave nothing of faces but like eyeballs and teeth, and frame rates that don't even approach the locked 30 frames per second. It's super cinematic. Yeah, Ubisoft initially tried to write off the problems as an AMD hardware issue, but they've since launched a live blog to document their fixes.
BlizzCon wrapped up this weekend, and while many speculated that it could be a showcase of a company largely on the decline, Blizzard wowed the crowd and those watching from home by announcing a brand new IP called Overwatch. Overwatch is a team-based competitive shooter that's been compared to Team Fortress 2 and features a wide range of playable characters, including one who's got me saying "Cavalry's there" every time I go to the coffee machine.
Seriously, every time.
Nobody's sick of it yet. A beta for the title was playable on the convention floor, and a large-scale beta will be out in early 2015. You can sign up right now at playoverwatch.com.
Five Nights at Freddy's has been an organic success since its release in August, helped along, we like to think, by a couple of Rooster Teeth's own play pals. And the creator, Scott Cawthon, has been busy at work on a sequel. Previously, he announced plans to release a demo for Five Nights at Freddy's 2 on November 11th, but after he submitted and learned it could take as long as 3 or 4 days for approval, he said, fuck it, and released the entire game on Steam. I mean, why not, right? This time around, you face not 4 or 5, but 11 animatronic horrors that are out to get you, and your safe doors are gone. Instead, you get a flashlight and a Freddy mask. So have fun with that. I'm going to be headed right down to Nope Count.
Rockstar showed they're still playing the long tease game with online heists this week when they announced that they'd be included in the first update for GTA 5 after the current-gen version launches next week, but failed to give a specific date for the release, opting instead to say details would be coming very soon. They cushioned the blow by sharing a GTA Online infographic with cool stats like how many jobs gamers have played and how many weapons they've owned. Gurgims, that's his real name, had the best reaction to our news report when he commented, "Here's the only stat I care about, and it's not on their fucking infographic, 409. That's the number of days since GTA's launch, and there's still not a solid release date for heists. Cheers, bro."
Rockstar says the reason for the delay in heists is they really wanted to get them right, you know? And it's tough, but luckily for them, they finally found something to help them crack that tough egg. Let's take a look.
We at Rockstar promise the people heists in our games. We have no heists. What's being done about that?
We're working on it.
You've been working on it for over a year.
Yeah, well, okay, we just brought in an outside consultant to help us out.
An outside consultant.
No, this guy's really good, okay? He knows everything there is to know about heists, okay? He's kind of like he's a heist specialist.
A heist specialist? What is that?
And we can do this the easy way or the hard way, Mr. Achievement Hunter. Now tell me everything you know about heists!
What? I don't work for Achievement Hunter.
What? Now tell us everything you know about heists!
I ain't telling you shit.
Please, I mean, we got nothing.
All right, first, you need a map.
Map? Okay.
Then 4 to 7 assholes.
Okay.
Then, you need a plan.
Plan. Okay. Anything else?
Penmanship, asshole.
Halo the Master Chief Collection launched earlier this week and promptly tripped over itself with some pretty severe matchmaking issues, which 343 are still working to fix. But during the launch, we also got our first real look at Halo 5's multiplayer. In fact, we spent some time going hands-on with it. So if you want to get an idea of the new features ahead of the beta that kicks off next month, check out this annotation and let us know what you think.
Just Cause 3 was announced this week in a cover story for the December issue of Game Informer. The announcement came shortly after screenshots supposedly from the game were leaked and caused kind of a stir as they showcased microtransactions. This led many to fret that the game would be free to play, but Avalanche has since clarified that the screenshots were from an old build of the game and the title will be a full retail release and won't include any microtransactions. Yay. For more gaming news of the esports variety, check out the leaderboard where we break down BlizzCon's competitive results and what exactly is happening on that crazy merry-go-round of off-season pro Call of Duty.
Spoiler alert, it's probably a lot of drama. And for even more gaming news, this week's The Patch discusses Assassin's Creed and Halo the Master Chief Collection woes, and there's hourglasses everywhere. Now, let's talk about movies and TV, shall we? Despite Toy Story 3 having pretty much the perfect ending, Pixar has decided to revisit the franchise and have officially announced Toy Story 4 for theatrical release June 2017. The story was conceived by the original team of John Lasseter, Andrew Stanton, Pete Docter, and Lee Unkrich, but is being written by Rashida Jones from Parks and Recreation and her writing partner Will McCormick. Lasseter will also direct. Not much is known beyond that just yet. Lasseter assures fans they're only doing the movie because the idea they had is too good not to. In response, fans have reminded Lasseter that the last Pixar movie he directed was Cars 2. Ouch.
Sony took a swing at TV this week when they unveiled PlayStation Vue, a subscription-based service that will allow users to watch both live TV and on-demand content without a cable or satellite subscription. 75 channels will be available during the closed beta later this month, with Sony promising that more are on the way. The service will begin rolling out in New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, and LA before going countrywide in early 2015. No word yet on cost, nor if it could be available internationally. Also, no word yet on how pissed Xbox was that everybody seemed pretty happy with this announcement after they shit all over Xbox One's TV integration, but it probably involved a lot of, dude, bro, bummer.
George Lucas may have shed the Star Wars franchise, but apparently he hasn't been able to shake the fantasy bug behind 1986's Labyrinth and 1988's Willow, which actually just makes me realize how formative George Lucas probably was for like all nerdy girls everywhere growing up. I mean, first David Bowie and then hot Val Kilmer. Oh,
Just David Bowie's,
yeah.
you know.
I learned a lot. Despite the semi-retirement he announced in 2012, he has apparently been working on his newest project, a fully CG animated musical inspired by Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, featuring popular music from the last 6 decades, very Moulin Rouge. The movie is being written and executive produced by Lucas, but will be directed by Gary Rydstrom, who has a background with both Lucasfilm and Pixar, specializing in sound. It will star the voice talents of Alan Cumming, Evan Rachel Wood, Maya Rudolph, Kristen Chenoweth, Alfred Molina, and Peter Stormare. And here's the kicker. In spite of just being officially announced, it's set to hit theaters on January 23rd.
That is how you do that. We've got an hour and then some of movie and TV discussion on our podcast Screenplay. This week we're talking about everything from Interstellar to Harley Quinn casting rumors, The Master and Doctor Who, and Snowpiercer, so it's kind of like this awesomely sci-fi week.
My favorite kind of week. Let's move on to tech and science, shall we?
President Obama released a statement this week on YouTube showing strong support for net neutrality. In it, he urged the FCC to classify the internet as a utility, which would force cable companies to treat all internet traffic the same, thereby destroying plans for any sort of internet fast lane. Opponents of net neutrality had harsh reactions to his statement, including one congressman from Texas who tweeted, "Net neutrality is the Obamacare of the internet," to which everyone in Austin responded,
This week, we, and by we, I mean humanity, but the European Space Agency actually did the heavy lifting, landed on a comet zooming 84,000 miles per hour through space. No biggie. This landing is the culmination of a journey that began for spacecraft Rosetta back in 2004. Since launch, it's used both Earth and Mars as slingshots to build up speed, past 2 asteroids, and finally caught up to asteroid P67 Churyumov-Gerasimenko. Well, actually, it caught up back in August and settled into orbit a month later, but this week is when the lander Philae detached and made an unguided descent to the comet despite the thrusters malfunctioning and the harpoons meant to secure it to the surface not firing properly. Doesn't matter, still made it, it's down, and now it's going to begin sampling the comet like a fine buffet, sending information back to scientists so they can learn more about the formation of the solar system, since comets are kind of the leftover relics of that process. However, there is some bad news. The lander bounced on landing because of that whole harpoon thing, and in spite of initially touching down in the right spot, it ended up coming down somewhere. They're not entirely sure where, but it looks like it's in a crater where the lander isn't getting enough sun to keep the power up. So unless something changes in the next 24 hours, its batteries may deplete entirely. Hashtag pray for Philae.
That's it for the Know It All this week. You're all caught up and ready to impress. We'll be back same time, same place next week, and we cordially invite Rooster Teeth sponsors to join us. There'll be tea and poppers.
And we'll use our pinkies.
Ding. Oh, I'm ready.